Jag suited the way I was playing, the way I'd evolved as a guitar player, but at the same time, all the old stuff, all my old riffs and everything sounded absolutely right on the Jag. Covered loads of basses that I'd used other guitars for. So I'm really glad that I came across it. It sounds like I'm supposed to sound, I think. The things that I liked the short scale. I liked the way it felt for me and my size. Definitely loved the sound. Aesthetically, I think they're absolutely beautiful. I love all the chrome. I love the shape of it. This kind of early 60s idea of space age, that classic sort of Fender thing. The Tremolo System, which I use quite a lot. Over the years, I've just developed this kind of flourish in a way. And I miss it when I've got a guitar that doesn't have it. Is to me the best tremolo system on a Fender guitar, without a doubt, with the moving bridge and everything. So I love so many things about it. Primarily though, I was attracted by the way it sounded. There's a reason why a lot of Jaguars are covered with duct tape. And it's just to stop that thing being knocked. It's very, very easy to knock it. So that was a bit of a problem, especially if you're in a band with Ryan Jarman, who comes over and he leans on you, and before you know it, your tone's all like this, because he's knocked that into the jazz position. And I've fallen out with many a guitar tech who I blamed for pulling a lead out my amp or whatever, when in fact it was that switch. It's always that switch. I've now been using this, which is the first one, with my signature on the headstock. Obviously, leading up to the guitar being made, there was the prototypes, the ones that I was building myself. And I've been using that as much as I can for the last few years. So my white-on-white Jag with my pickup configuration, which has now become the Fender Johnny Marr Jaguar, is the instrument I've been using for the last few years, almost exclusively. And the reason I've been using it exclusively is to try and road test it in almost every situation, because I figured that if I'm going to put my name on a guitar and work with Fender on building an instrument, I just want it to obviously be as good as it can be. And in my case, I've been pretty ambitious about it, because I've tried to get it to do everything it can possibly do. I've not just gone, it's a Jag, I'm trying for it to be an all-encompassing instrument. So I wanted to keep the aesthetic the same as the guitar that I loved, but get rid of some of the things that I didn't need and feel like, therefore, most modern guitar players don't need, because I think I'm fairly typical as a guitar player. And I wanted to keep this, but get rid of the tone circuit. So the four-way switch, the fourth position being an in-series position, meant that I no longer had the high-pass filter down here, and I use the high-pass filter a lot. I think it's one of the best things about the Jaguar. So the regular old tone switch, the circuit switch, now becomes a high-pass filter. And I wanted to do something here. I wanted for it to still have that kind of two-switch thing like the old Jag. And a solution presented itself after a lot of head scratching. I mean, over months and months, in that, because I put this in series position, and the reason for the in series position was to shut the naysayers up who just think that Jags are just all about being bright. The in series position was in fact almost too dark at one point, So I've got a second filter, and that switch, all it does is it works when you're in the fourth position, and that becomes a big giant humbucking pickup. You've still got the high pass filter, but there's a further filter that slims it out somewhat. The first things I needed to change from my old Jaguars was that I put the Mustang Saddles on, because as a lot of Jag players will know, that's one of the first things a lot of people do, really, just because the strings kind of tend, modern day playing isn't so great on the old Jag saddles. These are a little bit more reliable. But the main thing was that I was having problems with the bridges, so I've changed the way the bridge works, in that what I've done is inside here, the bridges were always falling down slowly over 12, 14 shows, because one of the great things about the Jag is that it has a lot of vibration going through it, just to do with the way the strings are and the way the whole guitar's set up and the scale and everything. However, you do get some unwanted conditions, and one is that the bridge goes down because of the vibrations. So the screws in mine are wider. The holes are the same as on a regular Mustang bridge, but again, this was something that took a lot of working out, but we've just got the simple solution of putting these bushings at the bottom of the screws. The screws sit inside two bushings. That means you use a regular screw, but the bridge is stable, and that's also better for the sound. The second thing is that the pickups on my Jag are copied from vintage 62 pickups. I experimented with a lot of different wiring. I got Tim from Bare Knuckle Pickups, did a lot of work on it, so these are vintage type pickups. The other thing about the pickups that is different on my guitar is that both the polarities are in the same direction. Now, some people might not really think that's a big deal, but in fact it is quite a big deal, because it changes the sound quite a lot. Normally on guitars, for noise reduction, a lot of people will know this, but I'll explain it. For the noise reduction is done by the polarities of both pickups going in a different direction, and we figured that my guitar we should do it the same as is on a Telecaster, which is that the polarity of the magnets go in the same direction. And in effect, what that does is it means that the string isn't being pulled in two different directions, and it actually makes the guitar sound more focused and clearer. Even acoustically, believe it or not, I did notice the difference. So that is quite a significant change. The magnets and the wiring have all been experimented with, and until I got the balance absolutely right. I went through tons of pickups to get it absolutely right. So they're specific to my guitar, and I had a sound in my head, and it wasn't enough to just put vintage copies in there. So believe me, they're really pretty well designed pickups. The chamfer on this guitar is thinner than on the regular modern Jags. I copied it off a very unusual late plastic blue 1963 that I've got. So the scoop sits a little tighter, and the chamfer on the front of the guitar I copied off a mid-50s Stratocaster, so it sits on your body perfectly. And that was a lot of experimentation. My signature Jag is a very unusual 1965 type neck, which I've got, I've tried out, I don't know, 15, 16 different types of necks. And I just kept coming back to this unusual 65 neck. And the reason I've used it is because not only does it feel good, but I think some players who are using a Jag for the first time don't need a skinny little small neck. And so it's a little bulkier and therefore adds to the sound also. So it's slightly bulkier than a regular Jag neck. But people with small hands won't have a problem with it. It's not like it's a big baseball bat or anything. So I think that's made quite a difference, and it's made a difference to the sound as well, because there's just sort of more wood, and there's more stuff to send vibrations through. I've managed to develop a tremolo arm system for the Jag. It's a new thing where you set the trem arm wherever you want it, and it doesn't move unless you want it to. And very, very importantly, it eliminates any play when you use the trem. So whatever you press is entirely accurate. Quite often with the old Jags, the trem arms would be swinging around all over the place. And I tried loads of different designs. And we ended up with a very simple thing that's just a bushing inside of this piece under the plate, and it's set, and you shouldn't really ever need to change it. A friend of mine who is a very, very good guitar player, and he's been playing for a long time, since the early 60s. When he found out that I was designing my own guitars, first guy to do this, he just said, "We can stop now." And I know what he meant, you know, because it's to someone who's grown up from being a little boy, like thinking that guitars are the greatest object in the world, bar none. To have designed your own and for it to be a successful design, you know, like to me, and one that people like, it's a little bit like designing the spaceship that went to the moon. It's a little bit like doing that, really. It kind of feels pretty historic, you know. And, it's great because it's something different from the accolades you get for writing songs. It's yeah, it's kind of amazing, absolutely amazing, yeah.